Oh no. I woke up at 9 AM to watch the cinematic, after which I immediately went here to record this video. I'm still in my pajamas. Well, I really don't know what's happening at Riot anymore. Every year we got a big new cinematic. And yet here we are, with nothing. After a year where League got nothing. I really can't say people have a lot of trust in League anymore. To be fair, I had to get a screenshot the moment the cinematic came out. Because there they called it cinematic. But it seems like on social media they know what's actually happening, so there they call it an anthem. So I wanna see if later they decide to swap the title. But the anthem isn't even new. It is reusing themes from the Climb cinematic. So what is going on? We wanted another cinematic where we get to see our favorite champions in action, and instead we got Unreal Engine tech demo. Riot, if you wanna save more money, feel free to use my animations for your future cinematics. I really wanted to have some copium. I wanted to say that there is no big cinematic because they are gonna tie it into the big summer event. But my supplies of copium were consumed during the last summer event, where we also got nothing. Normally I would say there is most likely a reason why we didn't get a cinematic. Maybe Riot is working on something else, but I don't believe that anymore. So yeah, in case you missed it, Riot dropped 4 videos where they prepared us for the exciting future of 2023 in League of Legends. Now, even though I wanted to swap to Variety Gaming, I said that I will still cover League of Legends. So covering all of these news is kinda part of the deal. But I also said that in 2023 I will make my videos a bit more exciting. So I'm here to introduce the Hypometer. Instead of covering the news as Riot delivered it to us, I'll let the Hypometer sort things out according to how hype they are. We will start with the news nobody cares about and will move all the way up. So are you ready? Because we're about to start filling the bar up. That's not right. Is it because there was no cinematic? What's going on? Oh no. So, for the majority of all the videos, Riot just repeated what we already know. So, among the news nobody cares about, we have Hextech Drake and all the jungle plants, new ping system, jungle pets, rune recommender, ARAM changes, Xbox Game Pass with loot for League. Yeah, we literally learned about all of these about 3 months ago. None of these are new, and what's worse, none of these change the game. This is all aesthetics and quality of life, which doesn't make the game better. So, let's bump things up! Okay, that's good enough. We then got an entire video about player behavior. To be fair, they did talk about some interesting things if you are into data and statistics. They talked about how it's difficult to detect if someone is intentionally feeding, because the game is only collecting numbers. How can the numbers tell what are your intentions? But besides that, once again, they just said what we already know about. If you behave well, you will get a skin for being a good boy. And then they mentioned that they want to make the game less toxic. Some people know my stance on this, but in case you don't, just fucking ban people! It is your game, you are the one who's dictating how people behave in your game. If someone is being an asshole, get them out of here! It doesn't matter that in 99% of their games they are fine, but in that one game they make everyone's lives miserable. If they do it once, 7-day ban. If they do it twice, a month-long ban. The third time, get them out. You can't make the excuse that most of the time people are fine. The point is, you allow them to be toxic. Just take the Final Fantasy approach. I have never played Final Fantasy XIV, but I know what Square Enix are doing. If there is a player who is disrupting the game for other players, they're gone. And what's the counter-argument? Oh, I want to have the right to be an asshole on the internet. Really? Just slam your door on your way out. Don't whine about your game being toxic when you're not doing anything. Alright, let's get things more excited. Good, good. We then got the state of the game video, where they talked about positioning agency, which I can tell you right now, nobody cares about. It's basically a designer's problem, which the player will never ever think about. And they also talked about how they made mythic and tank items. That's literally it, that's the news for 2023. So let's bump it up again. And this is where we got a video talking about midscope updates. For the first 6 minutes, they explained what midscope updates are. That's in a 7-minute long video. What we got from this is that their goal for 2023 is to give us a new midscope update every 2 months. There is something really horrible hiding behind this. You see, this is most likely why we are not getting VGUs anymore. The reason why Riot is not reworking old champions is because those reworks cost them money. They need to make models, they need to make animations, they need to make new kits. A midscope update only gives the champions new abilities. And even in that video they said that midscope updates are as effective as VGUs. That's why they wanna do a new midscope update every 2 months. What they don't tell you about is that that's the reason why old champions are not gonna get big updates. It's because it costs them money and they need to save money because who know why the fuck? Are they cutting costs again? Whatever, let's move on. As expected, we then got news about the Skarner VGU, which they first teased a year ago. The update is, they started exploring how to enhance his fantasy. Can anyone tell me what they are doing? They even presented us with some of the art we got last year. Well, let's pump it up again. We then got news about Ari's ASU, which is something we got to see last month. Again, it's nothing new. And then we got teasers for new skins. Of course, everyone knows that Riot is cutting costs everywhere. 2022 had no new lore and no new gameplay, but you know what we got? A lot of skins. So of course, in this update, they only showed 4 skins? I mean, they said that Aurelion, Ivern, Kled and Kalista are gonna get skins. From these, Kalista is gonna be a fairy, Karma is gonna be a fairy, and then there is Cats and Dogs, Kled and Kindred. Yeah, sure, nice skins, but is that it? No voting on new skins? No teasing or more than just one new skin line? What's amazing is that after they teased these 4 skins, they said, and I quote, "These are just a few of the new things we plan for season 2023. Yeah, they are planning skins and it's only 4 of them. So let's bump it up again. So it was revealed that we are getting new voiceovers for Nidalee and Varus. But you know why we are getting them? It's a promotion for the new champions, so that the new champions sell better. Because it was confirmed that both of these new voiceovers will interact with the new champions. This means that Nidalee will talk to the Ishtali champion, and Varus is gonna talk to the new Darkin champion. There is something really bad happening with these voiceovers, but more on that in just a moment. On a similar level of excitement, there is the Aurelion CGU. To be fair, he got really amazing abilities. But again, we learned about these 14 days ago. This is nothing new yet again. And then they started teasing new champions. Finally, something to talk about, even though, as many of you may know, new champions don't make League's gameplay any better. Whatever, the new Ishtali champion is gonna be Melio. Apparently, it is a kid and it is an elemental mage. In his story, he's gonna be facing the Vidalian, which is the highest challenge to become an elemental master, and he's gonna be uncovering the darkest secrets of Yuntal. Based on the lore, I assume that the darkest secrets are that the entire Ishtal believes that the entire world was consumed by the void, but Yuntal knows that the entire time the world is fine. That's probably what will be explored. It is also gonna be an enchanter, which is gonna be healing by using fire. There are also some references to bouncing, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bouncing fire, kinda like what Nami does. If you ask me, what I want from this champion is for him to explain Kiana. 2 years ago there was a massive event that was dooming the entire world, and the most powerful elemental mage in existence didn't help anyone. Riot told us that's because there is a lore reason Kiana was doing something in the background. 2 years later they still never explained it. If this champion doesn't give it a reason, I lost faith. Then we also got new teasers for the Darkin dog. It was said that this champion will have simple abilities. There are references to pouncing and animals, that's because it is most likely gonna be a corrupted dog. It is focusing on hunting in a pack. It is a mid lane assassin, and she is called Nafiri. It's strange to see that they didn't use any of the existing Darkin, especially after introducing so many of them. I was really hoping the new champion would be Varus' sister, but nope, it's a brand new character. The story is they woke up from slumber and they started seeking their brethren, which is exactly the story of Varus. I mean, the two are gonna meet, so who knows what's gonna happen. But then they mentioned that the champion is gonna have multiple bodies, which they are using to seek the other Darkin. Now, because they said that this champion will have a simple kit, I don't believe we are talking about a champion that's gonna be controlling multiple units at once. Instead, I believe it's gonna be something like Kalista. You leave behind a ghost that's gonna patrol an area while you control the main champion. They also called that champion a twist of fates. So maybe when Nafiri was an ascended, she was a lynx or she was a cat. And then her Darkin weapon was picked up by a dog, and that's the twist. But there is something weird happening. In order for a Darkin to have multiple bodies, the weapon would have to be picked up by something that split. Otherwise, there wouldn't be multiple dogs corrupted, it would be only one corrupted dog. So since there are multiple corrupted dogs, a new theory broke out. What if the Darkin weapon was picked up by a pregnant dog? It's not my theory, I didn't make it up, but hey, it's out there. But that's that, so let's move on. We then got 2 more teasers for 2 more champions, which once again don't make the gameplay of League of Legends any better. First, there is a hangry jungler, which is a word that I had to look up. Apparently they are gonna be angry. It is obvious that they are gonna be Noxian, because the border is based on Noxian script, and the architecture is entirely Noxian. Fun fact, sometimes those side towers were used for pooping, so that you can poop down and the poop doesn't stick to the castle. Anyway, the architecture looks very much like it belongs to Vladimir. Now, it can't be Mora, which is the artist who painted Vladimir's latest painting. It is a really cool side character, but it is an artist, so it can't be the new champion, because you'll see what's coming next. It can, however, be Sin, the headmistress. This is another side character who is feeding Vladimir orphans in exchange for Vladimir's blood, because Sin is heavily addicted to Vladimir's blood. So if there is a character that we already know about that would work for this, it's Sin. Now, the other new champion is an artistic mid laner. A few years ago, Riot was fiddling with the idea of an ink mage, a mage that would have abilities where you paint runes with your cursor. That would be cool, maybe something like that is happening. And yeah, they are gonna be Ionian, because that is the Noxian script, referencing the Noxian invasion. And that's it, we get nothing else about them. On a similar level of excitement, we can also talk about the fact that you can finally choose your language in the client. You don't have to reinstall anything anymore, and you can choose when you wanna listen to Tariq's Japanese moaning at any time. Oh. So now, let's bump it up again. We then got a few words from the Game Loop team, which, I'll be honest, I didn't even know League had this team. And there they talked about ranked. For the first time in these news, this might be when things are actually changing. You see, now there will be a mid-year rank reset. Instead of just being one rank throughout the entire year, Riot is splitting the entire year into 2 halves. This is really good. League was one of the only games still in existence that did this. Most other games have 2 or 3 seasons per year. And there is a reason for that. People usually get to their rank and then they stop playing. If the rank lasts the entire year, people are gonna stop playing. There will also be new rewards. There will now be a ranked battle pass. It's free, but the rewards are gonna be icons and borders. Thankfully, this also means that there will be 2 victorious skins per year. And now, let's finally get something exciting! When talking about the mid-scope updates, they revealed the changes to Neeko, with the change really being just one ability, but that one ability is amazing. Neeko can now turn into anything, be it a minion, a tower, or a jungle monster. Neeko is now gonna be playing prop hunt in League of Legends. She's gonna be scarier than Fiddlesticks. To be honest, this sounds like the most fun ability in the entire game. I don't even care if the ability is overpowered, I'm just happy people can have fun in this game. And then finally we reach what might be the only real change to the game. Even though it doesn't even change the gameplay. Anyone can now get victorious skins, which is an amazing change. In the past, every season you could get a victorious skin by hitting gold. And if you climbed further above gold, you got different color variations. Since the average player is about silver 3, gold was slightly above average. So you essentially got a skin for being above average. What people may not realize is that this threshold was artificial. Riot just made it up. There was no real reason to decide who gets a skin and who doesn't. So now, by playing ranked, everyone can get a victorious skin. It's just if you are below gold, you earn it slower than if you are above gold. Which means that we probably fill up a bar, and when you fill it up, you get the skin. This system is so much better, because if you were below gold, you had no real reason to grind ranked unless you are confident you can get to gold. Now it encourages everyone to play ranked, which is a curse I wouldn't want to afflict on anyone. But getting a skin for participating in ranked feels way better than being like, that guy gets a skin, I guess, sure. Now, before we ramp up the meter all the way up, we need to go all the way down. Because there is more stuff happening in the background than what people know about. First of all, on Reddit it was confirmed that the Game Modes team dissolved. Essentially, throughout the year, the entire leadership of the Game Modes team just disappeared. Either they were moved onto other teams, or they just got out of Riot. What we are probably supposed to be like is like, oh, it's a shame that we are not getting a Game Modes team, even though Game Modes is literally the only thing that people really want in this game. What I see behind this is that Riot didn't see it as important enough to keep the Game Modes team running. We all know that Game Modes are something that the players really want. But we all know that game modes are not really that successful. They don't make you a lot of money back. So once again, this is most likely going down to the leadership being out of touch. Because their job was to make sure that team doesn't break in the first place. When an important person wants to leave and they are working on a really important product, perhaps you might want to try to keep them in the team to finish the product first. What I got from this is that Riot didn't care, and when the team wanted to dissolve, they were like, yep, whatever. So yeah, that's why last year we got nothing, and I assume this year we will get nothing, because getting such a team to ramp up takes time. There is also the news that League of Legends will give $1 for every 100 missions complete to charity. Which essentially means League of Legends will give 1 million to charity. Don't sweat it, don't grind the missions if you don't wanna. If Riot wanted to give more to charity, there wouldn't be a cap. And lastly, a tweet that was really subtle is that apparently the narrative team had to push hard to get new voice lines for those old champions. Yes, we don't get stories, we don't get game modes, and when it comes to new voice lines, which is the bare minimum you can do, the narrative team had to push hard for it? Is the leadership that out of touch? This is really getting to a ridiculous point. Like, how is any of this possible? We got a confirmation that 2023 has the biggest budget yet. And when we get new voice lines, we learn that they really had to fight for them. But you know what? Enough of depression. Let's go all the way to the top. You know what was the best moment I had while watching all of these videos? It's this moment when I hit my wrist and it was really funny.
The flame of his dragon.
We saw these, so I can snooze now.
We didn't go too deep into the parts of his kit that strengthen his star forging theme. Not only can Aurelian Soul forge stars like a nebula in deep space,
it's cool.
But he can now drop them from the sky onto his foes in Summoner's Rift.
Really badly, ouch.
Ooh, ouch. As we mentioned before in the last video.
And there you have it! So, what did we learn? We know Riot is working on some new champions, which are proven again and again not to improve the state which League of Legends is in. After all, a new champion does jack all to a repetitive game, and that's it. There is literally nothing happening in League of Legends right now. And I don't understand what's happening. You know what's the funniest thing? Apparently, the cinematic had writers. There were people writing something for the cinematic, but people found out that the poem in the cinematic are just voice lines from champions. I am so happy I decided to cover more than just League of Legends this year.